we spoke about record labels, which Stephanie Benson actually mentioned that a true artist does not really need a record label.
I don't understand. I don't understand her reason for saying that. But I think that I beg to differ with him. With her, yeah. Because you see, as an artist, yours is to concentrate on. I think somebody is on the line, so you finish with that. And
Now let's speak with David Bolton, our very own David. David, good morning.
Hey, Andy, how's it going?
Charlie, cool. Nana, how are you?
I'm also fine.
We miss you, David.
Yes, I miss you all too.
So why have you deserted us?
I haven't though. I'm just on a small leave, and my annual leave. I'll be back.
This sabbatical leave here. this your leave there. It's more than annual. Dave, this one there.
Don't worry. I'm always available.
All right.
Always
okay.
available.
All right. So good to hear from you anyway. So Stephanie Benson claimed an artist, a true artist, does not need a record label.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yes, I do. I tend to agree. As in this day and age, traditionally, before we had the digital age and streaming services and so on, it was almost impossible as an artist to release music because there were a lot of logistics that went into it. You had to obviously record the music, then you had to master it, you had to reproduce it, and then you had to distribute it as well as promote it. And the record labels provided that reproduction, distribution, and promotion side of things. They also provided advances for you to go into the studio to make the music. So those days, an average artist, there was no way they could afford to do everything themselves without having a major label behind them. But things have changed considerably now. Now you can actually reach your fans directly, so you can promote your music directly to your fans using social media, paid advertising, and so on. Now you don't need to reproduce your music. Once you send it to a distributor, it's automatically uploaded onto all the streaming sites. So there's no reproduction cost again. And promotion can be handled by yourself or a small team. And, it's not as necessary as it was back then to have a major label to basically be signed to be able to release your music.
Okay, but with all your submissions, there was something you hit on, and it's all about money.
Yes.
Now, don't you think you need a label to help fund all of these?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be a label. Right now, what we need as artists are investors. You understand? So it's not necessarily having a label who's going to take possibly up to 85% of all of your earnings. So if you had, for instance, an investor who was willing to invest in you and then take a smaller cut, which an investor typically would do. If you're investing into a product or a business, normally you would take a relatively small percentage, maybe 30, 40, maximum 50%. But record labels will take anything up to 85 or 90% of all of your earnings. And the other thing too is with labels, they will own your master. I'm sure you've heard about this whole issue with Kanye West over the last few weeks, where he's been talking about the fact that he doesn't own his masters for his early works, and that at the end of the day, he wants his children and grandchildren to be able to benefit from the work he's done. Now, if you sign with a major label, in most cases, you're signing away your masters, so you don't even own your own work. You see the thing? The label owns all of your masters, so they will continue to make money into perpetuity, whilst you will just get a tiny fraction of that. So if you can be able to be a bit business minded, and don't forget, if you're starting any type of business, you need funding. These are the things. So artists need to think of themselves as a business, as a brand, and look at how is this done in other business sectors, and then try and model themselves on those other business sectors to a degree, so that you can treat yourself more as a brand, as a corporate entity, instead of always looking up to somebody else to sign you, to produce you, to do everything for you. And that's the problem that artists always make. You know, the issue is that they always feel like they need to have their hand held when they have the power. If you just do a little bit of research, learn the business, you can then have total control over everything you're doing, own your work, and own your future, which is what most independent artists are doing now. You may have heard that Drake, his contract is about to expire, and he's seriously considering going independent because he realizes that as an independent artist, he's going to make maybe 10 times the money he's making as being signed to a label.
But as an artist, don't you consider going indie even before getting your head in or wrapping your head around labels and all of these problems and ups and downs? Because look, it looks like almost every successful artist signed onto a label has issues.
Yeah. You see, that's the problem, because in the past, artists didn't have that choice, because there's no way you could release or become, blow up or become popular without a label. But now that's not the case. You see the thing, and you have to realize that it takes hard work and persistence. But you see, Stephanie Benson, she's talking from experience. She has been in the business, and although we may not regard her in the local music industry, internationally she's doing very, very well. You see, and most of our local artists, they have to be thinking globally. You see the thing, if you look at our Nigerian brothers and sisters, if you go onto their streaming sites and you look at their streaming numbers, they are way, way, way far ahead of us. And we can't use the excuse that Nigeria is a bigger market, because these streaming services are not even in Nigeria. Spotify is not in most of Africa. You see the thing? And Spotify controls probably 50% of the global streaming market. So you have to be thinking globally. You have to be marketing yourself globally, because there's a huge... Spotify alone has 300 million subscribers, active users. So just imagine you're able to just take 1% of that market. That's 3 million active listeners every month. And that will make you a decent living.
All right. So have you ever been signed on a record label?
Well, I had the opportunity when I was much younger. There was actually a UK label that wanted to sign me. And at that time, yes, I was willing to sign, because there was no other option. But, things didn't work out with them. And don't forget, the other thing with labels, when they sign an artist, out of every 10 artists they sign, they're only expecting 1 or 2 artists to be successful. 8 or 9 of those artists that they sign, they know that they will drop them within maybe a year or 2 of signing them. So they are basically playing lottery, if you like, with the artists. So most artists that sign to labels are not successful. And they then get locked into these contracts where the record label is not releasing their music because they're not blowing up. So they're focusing on those artists who are doing well. I'm sure even in Ghana, we have little bits of those issues with labels such as Lynx and so on, where you have one artist who is not getting the attention they believe they deserve because another artist is blowing up. So even signing a deal with a label does not necessarily mean that you're going to be successful. So why not learn what you can learn about the industry, stay independent, and try and build your brand that way?
All right. Well, thank you very much, David. I'm so grateful for your time, but please make time for us. We need your presence in the studio.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I have heard.
We need your presence. All right.
I'll be there.
All right. Have a lovely day, sir.
Thanks, Andy. Thank you.
Nice. All right, so that was David Bolton. Ernest, you heard David.
Yeah, I was saying something that you see, it is unfortunate that some people are signed onto labels and maybe because of the terms and conditions, they don't enjoy the fruit of their labor. That is the bad side of it. That is why before you get signed onto a label, you should understand the game, even if you have to find somebody who knows the nitty-gritties of how labels work. At least it will help you make a formidable decision as to what you want to do, whether to sign on with it, whether to negotiate for a better percentage and all these kind of things. But that does not mean that having a record label signed onto is a bad idea. Yeah.
All right. Hold on again. Today I'll cross your paths. Forgive me.
No problem.
Let's speak with Richie Mensah. Richie Mensah, CEO of Links Entertainment. Richie, good morning.
Andy Dusty.
Beat maker. Right now, they'll be talent maker.
Unresponding messages.
Unresponding messages. Oh, because
I'll messages there, pass our check.
Please do. All right, Richie, how are we?
I did like I know this.
Thanks very much for making time for us. So, does a true artist need a record label?
A true artist needs label services. Whether you call it a record label, whether you choose to fund it and pay for the different types of label services that there are yourself, a true artist still needs the services. Because can I get technical and teach small?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. A lot of people listen to music and they just see the music. They just see the artist part. What they don't see is that music is broken down to a lot of different elements. Like we have the music recording and production side, which is what they hear. Then we have the branding, from where you go to the music videos, the photographs, the choosing a style, look and feel and everything. Then we go to music promotion and marketing, both which are actually two very different things. Then we go to music distribution, where artists actually get to make money from people enjoying their music. Then we go to publishing. And from publishing, we actually even go into synchronization and then move on to performances, live performances, and the performance of your music. So I'm trying to say there are so many elements that make a good artist. It's not just the person stepping in the studio and singing. And most of the time, we tend to not pay attention to these elements as a general public because it's not absorbed too. So we just enjoy the music and take it at face value. But if an artist really wants to reach the top, they actually need all these services performed for them to be able to take them far. And I hear the argument people make a lot about the ownership of masters by the record label, and the truth is, it's not even by the record label. It's by whoever pays for the job. It's by the executive producer, the record label, whoever it is that is paying for the job to be done owns the masters. Now, what they need to understand is we have masters and then we have publishing rights. So when it comes to masters is property. So it's the same way you have something like land or a car or something. You are owning the physical property. Whereas publishing is intellectual property, which is about the creativity. So the rule of music is that whoever pays for the song to be done, whoever commissioned it with a payment, owns the physical property. But whoever did the creative work, which is the writing, the producing, all that part, owns the intellectual property, which is the publishing. So when it comes to that, the record label and executive producer doesn't have anything to do with that. And that also makes a lot of money on its own separately. And let me give an example in another field to maybe make it more clear. If today, Andy Dusty, you wake up and you commission, you pay for a house to be built, the architect who designed the house doesn't own the house. He owns the design of the house. But you who paid for the house to be built owns the house.
In plain terms, no, you excuse me. You've been technical all this while. So let's use the scenario of the house and the architect. Now the architect and the owner, How do you juxtapose that in terms, or how do you define or break it down when it comes to the artist and the label? Who owns the house? Who's the architect?
The architect is the artist, and the owner of the house, the one who paid for it, is the record label. So if an artist doesn't want to just be an architect and they want to build their own house and pay for it, then the artist says that, okay, I need label services. I need somebody who's marketing. I need somebody who's going to handle my distribution and stuff. However, I will pay for everything to be done myself, which then means you own the masters. So it's not about a label owns masters. So it's whoever pays for the work to be done owns the masters. So you can still sign to a record label or have label services or anything and explain the fact that, okay, so when they do a breakdown for you and your career is going to cost about 200,000 Ghana over a 1 year period, then you say, okay, I have my 200,000 Ghana, so I will pay for the work to be done so that I own the masters. It's actually that simple.
So that the artist will pay for it, and then the record label will be in charge of the promotion.
Yes. So in that case, it's like the record label. In that case, most of the time they like to call it management because you are not financing the project. So the record label will just handle the services, let you know you need to do this, need to go here, need to do that. But all the work still belongs to you because you pay for it.
In this case, you as a record label owner, let's use Kwame Eugene and Kiddy as examples. Say Cheese and Angela and the rest do not belong to Kwame Eugene and Kiddy. They rather belong to Lynx, if I got you clearly.
No, you see, that's a misrepresentation. The masters of Say Cheese and Angela doesn't belong to Kiddy and Kwame Eugene, but the publishing of Say Cheese and Angela belongs to Kiddy and Kwame Eugene. So what I mean by that is, if right now somebody in another country he likes the song Angela, and he wants to reuse the song Angela, like he wants to sing the song again, he's paying for the creativity that went into Angela. So that money will go to Kwame Eugene, not to Lynx. That's publishing. But if somebody right now decides to purchase the music in Afghanistan, that money will come to Lynx, and then a share will be given to Kwame Eugene. So it's two different things.
It's just like the videos and just like how all distributions are made. Okay.
Exactly. So, thank you for even mentioning videos. Let's even make it easier. Let's take a movie, right? We have a movie director, and then we have the production house that shot the movie. So when you see a movie is a Sparrow production, it's owned by Shirley from Paul Manson. Doesn't mean it was directed by her. So the director is the one who will take all the awards for best director. The director will get their publishing and everything anytime anybody likes the concept or the story of the movie. But when the movie makes sales, those sales goes to Sparrow Production. So it's the same in every industry. I think sometimes we just assume music is different because we love the music so much, we don't see everything else behind it.
In this case, artists do not really benefit. Is that the reason most of them are crying?
Artists actually benefit 100%. But let me bring you to other industries again. What happens that you see most big artists complaining about their record labels is when they start out in the beginning, they don't have the finances to be able to fund the music career because music is very expensive these days. So they sign to a record label, and the record label invests in them for years. Then it reaches a point where they've made enough money now, so it's painful that they have to keep letting somebody pay for their music and still take a percentage. So then they say, let me branch out on my own so I can own everything. The same way that you have somebody working in a company, maybe he's working in a construction company, he's been working there for 10, 15 years, and the salary that he has been getting has been building up. So it reaches a point he feels, but I do most of the work for my company, and my work ends up taking all the the money because I just get paid a salary. So instead, let me open my own construction company now so that I can make my own money and make my own decisions.
I see.
So it's the same as every other industry. So sometimes I feel it's unfair when that established artist who has done this for decades and made a lot of money comes and complains, making that new artist who can't afford it, makes them feel that if they hadn't gone through the labels to reach where they are right now, they wouldn't even have enough money or a voice to be standing there to tell people this or to make a decision to step away from the label.
Right. Okay, Richie. Well, thank you very much. You've spoken. I'm so grateful for the education this morning. I'll call on you if there's any other explanation.
Yeah, of course.
Right. All right, so that was Richie Mensah. Back in the
let me
studio.
finish with
Finish
what I
it.
was saying.
I see Sadiq.
You see, if you are to concentrate on one, how to compose your songs, 2, the recording, 3, the marketing, the publishing, distribution, and all these things as one person, you end up getting confused. What time would you get to even concentrate on your craft? That is why you need people, either by, just as Richie was saying, either by paying outright for them to give you that service, or they will give you the service and take whatever they need to take. It's all about the bargaining, the percentages, and all these kind of things. If you have to look at that one, if that one is a problem, let's look at that one. But you cannot do it all alone. You still need people to help you get to where you want to go to.
Dr. Ernest, good morning.
Yes, morning.
How are you, sir? Sadiq, good morning.
Good morning, Andy.
Mr. Logic, good morning.
Andy, good morning. I'm late because I went for something for you.
You went for something.
I realized that you like, the other day I was telling you about Kobe clothing.
Yeah,
KB clothing.
Yeah, KB.
This is a solid.
Mr. Logic.
Put it on camera.
He will not
See,
allow
I'll
me.
put your anniversary cloth on it.
Oh,
It's a solid.
How did you get the material?
Don't worry about that one.
But you're being biased here.
Don't worry about that one. That one is up to me.
You're being biased here.
It's presented to you
You're
by
bribing
Kobe
Andy.
clothing.
But how did you
solid
even know
one,
my
Your
measurement?
picture is alone. Your
Bribing-
picture alone.
Why are you bribing Andy?
This is not a bribe. It's a
Why, bribing me
presentation.
for what?
I'm making a presentation to you.
What
It
is
is
he
a
bribing me?
respect
Andy, so
Okay, against the house.
Andy,
Against the
MPP people, we are kind. It's kindness. MPP, it's a kind. Me, I don't say no. I'm just making my presentation.
No, it's free.
MPP people are kind people. You see,
No, it's free.
this is a typical example of an MPP heart. You understand? It's Andy. So as you can see, KB clothing.
Right.
It's
Hey, Charlie, man, they gave me serious guy.
well packaged.
Well packaged.
We are not playing, no.
Guys, okay, listeners,
Put it on
call
camera.
KB Clothing.
Promotion.
Oh,
KB
massa. Hey,
Ah.
Sadiq, you bring me something for you. You bring me something for you.
Why would bring you something?
Appreciating
We
the
had
man.
this.
You know what you talk.
Yeah, you say what?
No position.
Better say confess.
Hey, Charlie, guys, I want you to
MPP
call
people.
KB Clothing and thank you for
Yes.
me. Call him on 0277.
Say unless you want to
Hey,
become.
Allah, hey.
No, because unless
My
you want to
friend,
come.
I beg.
You don't understand.
Call on 0277 085048. 0277 085048.
And your ball logic. Wow.
What
Why
are
you
you?
give Andy?
What are you, Sadiq?
Logic.
Why you be MPP?
If
As you said,
anything,
now you
if I give, you appreciate.
You be selective.
If I give Sadiq, he will add you.
He says you are okay.
You appreciate.
So add NDC colors. If I add NDC colors.
promoting artists.
Charlie, thank you. Now let's
Why
speak
should
with.
he give you?
Make it no mind now. Let's speak
Anything will
with.
give you. If he was to have given it to you, you would say MPP people.
Yeah, so I go take this bribe. I go take.
Let's Gentlemen, let's expand the conversation and speak with Alhaji Nero. Alhaji Nero.
Good morning.
Yes, Sultan. Yes. Owner of Sultan Records. Alhaji, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I'll be
Good morning, Mr. Andy. How are you doing?
very well, thank you, Alhaji. How are you?
I'm doing great.
All
Doing
right.
great. I just got back from Kumasi, so
Oh,
a bit
I see.
tired, though.
Why promotion?
Yeah, promotion.
Hey,
Yeah.
managing an artist, no be easy. Oh.
It's not an easy job.
I see. Yes, this reminds me. What's your relationship with Fancy Gadam? I know you were handling him.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was working. Okay, before I go on, let me say good morning to your listeners and your panelists.
Right.
So to your question, I work with Fancy Gadam. We signed a deal of 2 albums, which the 2 albums is done. So we are revisiting our contract again and see the way forward because the artists also have the right to think and weigh the 2 sides. What's the benefit that he got from the label if he's good to go, or if the label think the attitude and the works of the artist gives reason to move on. So our 2 albums, which is was the Mujahid album, which we had to touch it and Patoranking easy on it, and the second one was a Dream. We are done. So there's no any friction because Fancy is my little cousin as well, and he's doing well. I think he has benefit from the label. And there's 2 different things we have to know. Normally with a record label, your main aim should be the projection of the artist, because if the artist doesn't do well, your investment will lock. That's one thing we have to know. And I listened to, I think earlier on you spoke with Richie, and I think he just spoke for me. You see, even if you have the money as an artist and very talented, you still need a label. But others will choose to say a team. You can't do music all on your own. There must be division of labor to ease stress and make your works, your recording, so you can concentrate. It's 2 ways. At the same time, we have people who come in as a record label, but they are not a record label. I would say they are investment company. You see, the difference between a record label and an investment company, in my way, or investment company that pretend to be a label. The record labels mainly aim is projecting the artists and their works before any other thing, because if that thing doesn't go on well, the label's name or you can't make it, you see. And the investment companies, sometimes they sign an artist, but they will use the artist to project their other businesses or for their public or their country to feel their presence. So this is 2 things the artists also need to look before signing on to a label.
I see. But in this case, if you heard Richie very well, the situation where artists get on labels and they complain, yes, the record label is taking all the money. I'm making, let's say I made 100,000, but just 30,000 came to me. What happened to the other 70? And then the scenario of the architect and the owner of the house.
It depends. Music, we have some people, they are performers, they are not composers, and they don't write. But if you're an artist and you write your own music, when it comes to royalties, it's different 2 things. And when you are signing the contract, that is where, even if you don't understand the contract, you the artist, you need to consult someone else aside your record label. But most people who complain about this, like I said, sometimes someone wrote the song for you. But if you're an artist and you write your own songs before the executive producer finances it or the record label, it's 2 different things. You can always negotiate. And that is why it's good for both record label and artists. You don't sign like maybe you are signing 5 albums. So no, I don't do that. The maximum I will do, because I believe in what I'm doing. So for me, the maximum I will sign with you maybe with 3 albums or 2. And sometimes people don't do like I do. I sign per album. But people also, I sign 5 years, I sign 2 years. Sometimes, like I said, you really need to be sure of what you are doing. But for me, I would say an artist, you need a label. But some people will say a team, because the team is still working what the label does. But if you feel like you have the money, like Richie said, you can employ people to work for you. And in Ghana here, sometimes some conversations that we have, we are catching up. Whatever we are doing, we are trying to catch up maybe with the European market or the American market. Let me say this. How many parents, like you send your child to a school in Ghana here, and instantly, let's say you pay, 300,000 Ghana for a child fees. How many parents have done that in Ghana? But a record label will take your child or will believe in someone's craft and invest more than that in a single EP or an album. So sometimes the conversation we have, and if you don't have it well, we are losing a lot of talent.
But
because
no, please.
Because like you, every day there's new talent, And sometimes it's not just the money that you make from the artist, but sometimes helping someone to reach their goal also gives you the inner satisfaction. But there are some conversations when it happens, like maybe people feel like the record labels are bullying the artists. It will put them off, especially this side of the country we are. We have a lot to catch up. And at the end of the day, it is the finances that will get us there. Even now we are saying there's a digital, there is Facebook, there is whatever. You need people who understand the plugs. That is why some artists, like I think the first person you interviewed was comparing us to the Nigerian market has. Because the Nigerians, a lot of them, they have people who learn it before the money goes in. And they also have the finances more than we do. It's not just you just record your song because there is a tune call or whatever, you just send it there. When you record your songs and you put it on tune call, fine. They'll put it on all the digital platforms for you. But there's a lot to learn. And some places you have to pay. If you want to get the song like pitch well, you need to have an A&R. If you are targeted, you have to know where your market is. And you pay people there, the countries that you want it, you have to pay people there to work, to get the songs plugged to all the big playlists, because that's where you get your revenue. If the songs you upload it on TuneCore and you don't put it on the right playlist, you will not get the mileage. That's why you see some artists drop some song within 3 days, boom, they are doing 3 million, 4 million, and the streets bring the money. But if you don't have the right people to know where to plug the songs, that's the work of the record label. You can't make that profit. So as an artist, to me, I stay, not that because I'm an executive producer and I own a label, you need a label, or you can choose to call it a team. You need it.
But Alajinero, what do you look out for in an artist? There are trillions of artists in Ghana. If you're scouting for an act or for an artist, what do you look out for?
Well, normally I look out for, I like working with performers. Because this side of the country, the performers make the money. We have some artists, they are very good in the studio. But when you look them performing, you will not enjoy their performance. And when you have a label, the label will maybe consult someone or get someone who can craft you well so that you can grow or give more performance to your audience. But now, in a way, too, we are lucky because of this digital world now. Some artists outside there, they don't even, if you give them events to play or a show, they don't even like it. They tell it to drain their energy because they are making the money online. But it all boils down to the same thing. You need good people, professionals, who can plug the songs well. And it all takes money. You don't just upload your song on the internet and think you get the mileage. No, it doesn't work that way.
All right. Thank you very much. You have spoken.
You're most welcome.
Yes,
You're most
Alajinero, CEO of Sultan. All right. So, Mr. Logic, let's begin with you.
I wonder if there will be enough time to discuss your second.
Hitz FM.
Oh, let's fire.
We have to, yes. You know, it has
You
to
have an
happen.
extension there.
We have
Of
to.
course,
We
I
have
want
to.
to talk about
I
DJ Black
think
for Sleep House today.
You say what? Sally say what?
DJ Black for Sleep House today.
It was sleep for you today.
Give him, make it give
Take
him
30 minutes of his time at least to
1 hour.
continue the discussion.
1 hour. You go play 1 to 2.
You go make him ball right now.
Andy, so for me, seriously, I think I don't agree with David in a way, and I agree with Richie and Nero as well. You know, David, when he spoke, made it sound as if you can do it on your own. Yet he said when he was young, Abroche for yeah. I mean, when he was young, he also said that when he was young, he was signed to a label, something like that.
Even turned it down.
Yeah, something like that. And you know, David is coming from a good home, so of course, if there's money
Cash
at
day.
home, cash day, David be that be. Cash day house, what do you need?
The guy made £1 million when he was not 20 years. What are you talking about?
When he was young, you see his ponytail and David is a rich man. David is a rich man, and so of course I understand where he's coming from. But then on a general look, Andy, you need a record label. But me, the question is, what is the meaning of a label? My definition is being attached officially to a brand, a company. You understand? But then the advantages and the disadvantages of a label in Ghana will make me to say that we don't have a record label in Ghana. Seriously, we don't. We have production houses. We have to be very honest with ourselves. We don't have a record label. I think Xylophone tried it. they were more of a label. I can say xylophone music is actually no. We've had Megastar and all those labels. As at now, we don't have a record label in Ghana, but we've had Megastar. We used to have Supercars.
Link's not a record label.
Andy, the definition of a record label is not just recording artists and putting out there with team. There are things you need to do.
But is that the only
welfare? I'm coming. Welfare. The reason why people are saying that out there, when you are signed to a record label, your life changes. Does Links gives house?
Now there must only be a house.
No, I'm coming. The things you must do before you call yourself a record label, Andy. These are the general.
But do you know where Kwame Eugene and Kiddy are?
Andy, I'm coming. Before, I'm not going to speak against Links based on the question you've asked me.
Right.
When Kwame Eugene was signed, the day he was signed, was he given an advance, a house, a car? Was he taken care of that way?
Okay,
a welfare, total welfare package?
What if he signed an NDA? I mean, if there was a non-disclosure. How would you know all of this?
I don't disclosure. Of course, we saw Kwame Eugene when he was coming up. We see him every day. He didn't have a car when he was signed.
Now
he didn't have a house.
Kwame Eugene doesn't have a car.
No, he has. Now he can afford it because Links have been able to use their.
No.
He doesn't have a car.
No.
Andy, Kwame Eugene to me kind of car.
Kwame Eugene doesn't have a car. He has cars.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's a correction for me. So I'm saying that I'm recapping to when he was signed. There was no welfare, total welfare package. These are the basic things that record labels do. What we have in Ghana is production houses where people, guys have studios. They've got team of people they send them on a few errands, and then they've got radio affiliations to get your song rotated. But then if you say a record label, and that is when you are signed and you get an advancement based on how much you are given. You are also told why you have been signed 10 years because you've been given let's say like a 3 million Ghana cedis an advance payment. So then you expect the label to recoup, so they can sign like 5 years, 10 years because they have to recoup that 3 million before even your house, your cars. You understand? These packages makes a record label. Then you can say that my life changed on set when I was signed. Then you will come work for what you have taken. That is where the master ownership comes in, because the master ownership, of course, recording right. You have the recording right because it's your intellectual property. The label owns the finance. They paid for the work, so they own the work. I mean, like Richie explained, that's how it works. But for me, I don't think we have a record, because if we had record label, Andy, artist's life would have been changed totally. Like all these artists,
bad?
To better. It depends how you leverage on the signing. You understand? So for me, I think we don't have a label as at now. We have to be very honest so that the artists will understand. Because when people hear you have been signed, the artist, the last time a friend of mine was trying to sign an artist, please, will I get a house where they stay no good? He said, sure. Now, remember I was in house. Then my car spoiled. I don't get car. All these things are responsibilities of labels, established, well-resourced labels. They have the budget. Okay, we are signing Kwame. The budget for him is $200,000. $50K goes into his welfare. $150K goes into production and promotions. Nigerians Nigerians have labels, because we've seen Nigerian artists. When they sign an artist, it's a total life turnaround. Your life turns around when you are signed in Nigeria. Because the investors, they put in huge monies. They buy you house, they buy you. Look at Maya Kun and all these guys. Maya Kun and all these guys. They sign them, their life change. But in Ghana, we've got production houses who have budgets that they can spend on your work from the beginning, not on your life turning around from onset as they sign you. So I can say we don't have a label.
All right.
We have production houses.
All right. Thank you very much. At least you've done your 3 minutes. Let's invite Marco.
I did it under pressure. I was under pressure.
3 minutes. See, Mr. Ernest, the way he's looking at me, you say, you gave him 5. Don't worry. Let's give Mark. Let's give Mark 2 minutes. Two. Mark.
Why?
Why say?
Some are getting to, some are getting to.
You are speaking for Ernest, eh? Because Ernest, we said this is not fair. You just gave him 3 minutes. Why are you giving me 1 minute?
What?
Anyway, welcome. How are we?
Thank you, Kulu.
All right. I'm sure you've been following our discussion.
I have not been following from the beginning. I didn't listen to. I heard you mention links. I did not listen to links. I just came in. And sometimes, I monitor competition. I don't listen to you.
Right. It's fair. Fair.
Yeah.
It's all fair.
So I had to come in because of what Mr. Logic said. It is not entirely true what he's saying. So let me break it down
to what I know. I do not know what people have said, but what I know, my little knowledge about record label business, because I've run one before, and so I know what goes into it. And I've read wide when it comes to label business, and that is why I was able to do the things I did in my time. There's a difference between record company and a record label. Let's get it straight. People make the two, and so what record companies do, they want the labels to do. So Des, Jermaine Dupri, Teddy Riley had this label. Bad Boy was Puffy,
Yeah.
Bad Boy was Puffy. All these businesses were not record companies. I think even Babyface's wife also had one, Yabium. And then Babyface's was LaFace. You know, all these were labels that were working for the record companies, which are the Warner, the Sony, the
EMI.
You understand? Even EMI, Richard Branson's EMI, had a sub one called 10 Records. 10 Records was the one that recorded the Back to Life, Soul to Soul.
Jazzy B.
You know, so I ran a label whilst Megastar was trying to run a record company. So if you watch, Megastar had a set of instruments for the musicians. Megastar invested into Amache these instruments.
Not to four.
When they release albums, they give them big launches because that time KKD. And people were saying, why are they putting the money into launching? But they launched the thing and the albums did not become successful. I wasn't doing the launches. I wasn't doing all the things that Megastar used to do because I was running a label. Megastar was running a company, record company. I hear years ago we had companies like Philips. They had a record company in Ghana. People like SC Bonds. I think some of them, I wasn't born. Some of them are very little.
Ambassador Records.
Ambassador Records, yes. You know, so logic is mixing the two that you must. And then again, somebody's country, what we were taught in school with international marketing or international business is that what you do in one country cannot be replicated exactly in another country because every country has its own culture. So what you have seen in the West, where record companies or record labels run, in the West, what you don't know is that even your record, the deal they sign, if you're not able to give us today, let's say downloads, 10 million downloads within 4 or 5 months, you have failed the label. You have failed the record company. And so all these things are subject to something. If you are able to do this, we give you that. If you are able to do that, we give you this. Targets, KPIs. If you are not able to give me this, you don't get that. But we don't do that in Ghana. Tell me any label that you've seen that they say that if you are in the next 3 years, if you are not able to give us 100 million downloads, you are sacked. But in the West, it is real. So you see artists under pressure that if they're not able to give the record companies this number of sales, they will boot them out. It happened to Asha Raymond. That's why Asha Raymond, they had to go and give LaFace, had to go and give Asha Raymond to Jermaine Dupri. Because they had tried it on their own and it wasn't working. And they had to give him to Dupri, and Dupri got Asha. I don't know if I've told you this story before where Asha said, this time I'm going my way, not the record label's way, because we tried your way, it's not working. That is why that album was called My Way. That song, My Way, that's how the song came about. And it was done by Dupri because Dupri was very young who understood the youth music. So it's like a Kwame Eugene doing beat today and Hammer of the Last Two doing beat today. Hammer of the Last Two can do a beat that is very good, but the youth might not accept because he's not a hammer of their time. And so Dupri was he was also a small boy who had recorded Crisscross with Jump Jump.
And he was a DJ as well.
And he was making hits at the time. Anything Dupri touched at the time was doing well. The Brat. So they gave Asha. I mean, can you imagine Babyface and L.A. Reid giving their own artist to a younger guy? So, and don't forget, before they gave him to Dupri, Puffy, PDD had tried. Think of You. You remember that song?
Yeah.
It wasn't big. Big producers, Babyface, They've all tried. It wasn't working.
I mean, but the question is, how would such big names give out an item or a product like that? I mean, what will make them leave the artist? Could it not be that, well, the artist was also not doing enough?
Okay. Acha's argument was that he is a dancer. That is his unique selling proposition. That is what I'm known for. But you guys say you want to brand me as Mr. Loverman. So I'm singing love songs, romantic, and we don't dance. So if you like, go and check the trend. The only time Asha showed the whole world that he was a good dancer was in My Way. Before My Way, we didn't know Asha as a dancer. So again, you see Kwame Eugene and Kidi, Albert and Richie have done so well. Richie doesn't play the beat for Kwame Eugene and Kidi. Because we all know Richie's track record. He's an R&B boy who doesn't have the niche for high life. So even if Richie tries it, it won't work. So he says, play your own beat. When you finish, bring it, let me mix. And it's working. So sometimes division of labor, you know people's strength and then you use it anyway. So to the record label matter, I think Lynx is practicing a label. They are not a record company. They are a label. And even in the West, the labels go for big support from the record companies. When you finish, because it's the record labels that own all the distribution network in America and the world. So if you do not get distribution in some of the big six, now they become the big five. Now I think even Time has merged with Warner, yeah? So it's not Time Warner.
Time Warner.
Yeah. Okay. So if you don't get distribution from these people, you are struggling. Thank God internet has taken some of their powers, because now you can get Spotify, now you can get Boomplay, now you can get iTunes. But I wouldn't be surprised some of these people are connected to these same online sales people. That's how they operate. They will manage and find their way in there when they see they're losing their power. So I beg, logic. There are record labels in Ghana. Even Gem, the record company that is recording Kete, the record label that is recording Kete, they're practicing the label. But it is record company. Because the company, you need more than just the normal things. I'm sure that's what you wanted to talk about. The record company, you need more to be able to operate as a company. You need to practice good governance, an office with all the things that you need, corporate governance, all the things you need, the structure, the finance department, HR department. Okay, there's a difference between finance and accounts. Some people join the two. A CEO on top, and now depending on how you want to structure but you must practice a company. Which that one, I'm not the one who's supposed to show anyone. It's part of Ghana's law, Registrar General. It's the way you practice it. Good governance structure. And that is what maybe he wants to talk about. But with labels, I have run a label. People have run labels. The IG codes and all these people, they run labels. But because we didn't have a record company, the only one who was trying to run a company at the time was Megastar. Unfortunately, we all know what happened. Even the man is late now. He's gone now. And so let's encourage people to run. And then I heard somebody says record labels are not important.
Yes, Stephanie Benson. I mean, she's saying a true artist does not really need a record label.
Stephanie Benson is lost in the bush. She's in the wilderness. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I can assure you. See, Sarkodie was in your studio. You can go and take the audio. And then he said that they are struggling because they don't have help. The little money they make, they have to reinvest into their job. But if you have a label, go and ask Kwame and Kidi if they stress themselves out. Why is she not doing big in Ghana, Stephanie Benson? If she can do it on her own. Stoneboy, all these other guys who are not telling us the labels they have. Let's face facts. Number one ended up not well, but the number one agenda changed a lot of fortunes for some of our artists in this country. Let's not forget, Shatawale was Shatawale, but the number one factor, the money changed a lot. Stoneboy, say, Becca, some of these people got things to cushion them. So if you say that, even in the books, they tell you that it is good to do partnerships. It is good to do group businesses. Why? Because it reduces the pressure on your capital. It reduces, and then you share the risk. Instead of us losing 100,000, if me alone I lose 100,000, if I share or we are three of us are doing a job together, and we are losing 100,000, I'm losing only 35, or 33. But if me alone I take the 100,000 risk, I lose alone. And I see why people don't like partnerships in this country. If people can talk like this, someone who has lived in the West is saying that you don't need a label. Why should the artist carry all the things on his head? He's creating. He's going to the studio. And when you run a label, the ideas for the hits are not all from the artist. You got a record label executives, they all contribute to Charlie for direction way. Can I just your song? If you do it like this, it will help. Charlie, I have a friend who is connected to Universal. Can we talk to him? Oh, no, but if you're alone, everything is you. And I've heard artists who have come to your studio several times saying that they're struggling because everything is them. If anybody is ready to help, they are ready. Look at the job Nero, Alaji Nero did for Nike. We went to Tema a few weeks ago. You would think that if it was Nike alone using his own money, would he have been able to do what we did on that Sunday? Was Nike going to get me to come and sit there and follow him? Where do I know Nike from? I went there because of Alaji Nero. I want to go to Tulip on one Sunday evening because of Logic. Bringing out, what's your man name?
Lord Morgan.
Lord Morgan. Andy, you were there. We all come from a Hitz FM party. We were all tired. But we all went to support Logic at Golden Tulip. And we are all supporting Lord Morgan because of Logic. So to say that you don't need a record label as an artist, fine. I can see she's comfortable. She's not doing music as commerce or for commercial purposes. So she can speak the way she's speaking. But really, where I say my DNA is business. And so if you want to do music as business and you see you don't need a record label, then you don't even qualify to start. You are lost in the business. Let's not encourage such statements. The people in the industry need support. So entrepreneurs who have money and want to invest into music, if Sarkodie says he still needs support, Davido really, who is Davido? Musically, who is Davido? Those who know talent, let's say it's fact. But Davido has money to back the agenda. He has the support. That's why Davido is moving that fast. A lot of Nigerians have that advantage over Ghanaians. So if we get people speaking against the thing that we are fighting for, that we should get people to support them, I think it's rather unfortunate. Like that. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Well spoken. Thank you. That was Mr. Manti. Mr. Ernest.
Yes, boss. Yeah.
It is 9:58 on my watch.
And truth be told, it pains my heart so much when we try to
the man is trying to
belittle the works of production houses, labels, and companies that strive hard to put money on the table for the artists. And Richie made one comment, which I really I love that statement he made. He says, when a big artist finally makes it big from a support of a record label and he breaks off, then this big artist will come on, sit on radio and discredit the work of a record label, supposedly to mean that he's big. But that big artist who at the time is talking has forgotten that he was once a new artist who a record label found him and then invested huge sums of money for him to become big. And now it's like, Andy, you, after your father taking you to university and now you are now sitting here, you look into the mirror and call your father and say that he hasn't done nothing in your life. That after finishing university. That is how the whole argument is. Yes. And it's so disrespectful, it's so painful, I don't know how to describe it.
But wait, I did business with Media Excel. We've broken off. You've gone your way, I've gone my way. How painful is that?
Why didn't your forefathers contributed and did that business? Your forefathers should have done that for you.
No, you are talking as
if I'm saying that your forefathers they should have done because
no. Per what Mr. Ernest is saying, you signed a contract with me for 5 years.
You see,
we are done after the 5 years. Then I go for an interview and I tell you, they ask, so Ernest, what did Media Excel do for you? And you say, oh, well, they didn't do anything for me. They only promoted my songs. Money on there. No, me, I'm asking you.
They only promoted your works. And therefore, today you are sitting here talking.
They build your brand.
Really? They didn't do nothing, but they promoted your works. The moment you're able to use that language, promoted.
That's the work now.
That is the work. That is what a lot of these million musicians, including the one who even called you this morning when you were doing interview. That is the work of all these people. You see, sometimes when we finish here, you go to the front desk, and artists are sitting down there. Artists are sitting down there, and then they are holding their CDs. Allow me, please. You are distorting my thoughts.
Thank you.
See?
You are distorting my thoughts.
He's a gospel musician.
Is somebody in control here? When we leave this, sometimes when we come here and we go out there, you see a bunch of artists waiting for Andy Dusty in front there. What are they looking for? Huh?
They want management promotion.
Who crossed me in front there? Says, I'm looking for Mr. Andy. Who is he? Meanwhile, Andy you just passed, because the person didn't know you facially. So you just passed, and he came to me and asked me, I said, what do you want Andy to do for you? I want him to promote my work for me. You promote your work. If it is nothing, if it is nothing, like you people claim it, if it is nothing, if we are doing nothing, then your forefathers and your ancestors, they should have contributed, they should have done that thing for you. Since you people call it, it's nothing. It is just promotion. But what does promotion, in the first place, Andy Dusty, what does promotion do in the life of an artist? Promotion gives you visibility. Yes. It is the engine that brings revenue. It is the engine of growth for any musician in the world. Yes. An artist needs promotion. What do you want? You want to do construction? No, as an artist, what do you want to do? You want to do construction? No, that's the thing. Or you want to do farming? A musician, after recording, you need that thing. You need that visibility, a high point visibility that will blow your craft to the world. And that is what somebody, logic, will pick. And you see, in all the things that we do with music, that part, go and look at any record label or management or whatever budget. You can spend 2,000 for a song. You can spend 3,000 for a song. You can shoot music video 30,000. But when you get to promotion,
it's not easy.
Bro, promotion alone, radio, television, newspaper, online, coming in and everything will hit you close to 150,000 Ghana cedis in GH. How many of your family members have that 150,000 Ghana cedis sitting down to spare and tell you that we will put this one money into you and then go and sit down in the house and wait for 1 year before Andy Dusty becomes 8? How many of your family members can risk that kind of thing? And so for me, the argument that Stephanie Benson made, you see, let us try to separate this one. If you're a woman and you meet a rich man and the man is giving you chop money, don't use that mathematics to come and temper this thing and soil our industry for us. Because you may be rich, you're having a husband supporting everything, and so when you need money, somebody will give you $1,000 to go and shoot, $2,000 to go and shop at Dubai. So you may want to come and discredit the work of labels. Master, we have a busy and a serious music industry.
Thank you.
Our industry is for serious people, not for jokes. And I don't want anybody to come and ridicule our industry because the person has got a husband who has got a yacht or a Range Rover park already. Let us try to separate it from that point.
Go ahead.
Never, we don't have to allow. Never again should we sit for any young woman to look in the face of us and come and ridicule us and ridicule our effort.
Yes.
We don't need to allow that to happen. Because it's a cheap language. It's a cheap statement.
Because you've made 6 minutes already.
It's a cheap statement.
Well, thank you.
Master, do you know what we go through as record? Do you know what we go through as managers?
Thank you.
Do you know what we go through? Let me tell you one thing. One day, Bullet went to TV3 and fought the whole TV3 management.
Well, look,
because they called everybody to come for an interview,
and they were playing
and the people could not even play the artist music video, and the guy was mad because what was he doing? He was looking for visibility for the
his artists.
For the artists. So if tomorrow some junk human being come from somewhere elsewhere, perhaps, and then come and say that
that language is.
I'm sorry,
No.
I retract that.
I understand.
That if tomorrow any human being born of a woman come from anywhere and come and describe the work of Bullet as nonsense because he hasn't done nothing, that person should be shot in the brains.
Hey,
Kai.
Thank you.
You know what we
I said it's okay.
Oh, no, what I mean.
Listeners, we
Hey.
Let's go Zongo.
Wallahi fa ba wannan ba. Aiki record label ba na yara ba ne. Wallahi fa. Ka saba bici ka ya fara kai kwana gidanka. Ba wa kama wasa muka yi ba ne. Wallahi fa. Kaka bar wanda zai wannan magana. Wallahi fa. Nai ma wani duka wallahi bisa radio. Wani magana kenan mana.
Una interpreti ma. Also say.
Hitz FM.
An interpretation. Also parallel no with you and the boy.
All the plenty is right on. If you just want it.
Listeners,
you know make a translate again.
We are going for a break. When we come back, Sadiq will take it away. Let's speak with Sadiq. Champ.
Andy, I mean, obviously...
You've been quiet today.
I was listening to Kwesi Ernest. Right. But obviously, I mean, we need them. Okay, so it needs to be certain things need to be put into perspective. There are some people that are great in speaking in sound bites. So they speak in the sound bite. It looks like about, but in actual fact, it doesn't. They're just true words about. So, for instance, somebody can tell you that great artists do not need record deals. Soundbite. You think about it's something. I mean, but really, when you scrutinize it, you realize that it was not a well thought through thing. Great, first and foremost, is relative, but almost all the people that you will list here to say have greater talents or musicians, also because they had a certain reach and a certain impact, almost all of them came through the record label system or record company system. I mean, lately, a lot of people wanting to be safe will use music companies, because either you're providing one service or the other. In working in, so they'll say the music companies just to be safe because they don't understand whether, because obviously there are only 3 mega labels in the world, which is, or mega record companies in the world, which is a Universal, Music, Sony, and then Warner. The rest all are imprints or labels under them. They have their own structured deals whatsoever. But if you're saying that artists or great artists or talents do not need a record label, you're saying that they don't need investment. And I was listening to David. You asked David some few questions like, okay, so what do they need? He says investment. How does the investment come in? The investment most often comes in the form of the record or music companies. No matter what it is, it will come through the music companies. Even if it's it's not somebody just making an investment. He's making an investment relative to a certain consideration that's going to come from the music space. And then he also cites artists from Nigeria. Today, the great artists in quote that you mentioned from Nigeria that are getting all the impact, they are all being backed by the companies. Burna Boy is backed by Atlantic, also an imprint of Warner. Davido, Wizkid, all these guys. I mean, Warner is in Nigeria, can see Chocolate City now, and so they have a number of talents. Universal is there. But beyond that, lately, things have changed. Of course, you cannot compare and say that because we are in a do-it-yourself part, you don't need local labels. Because inversely, if you take away what the record labels will do for you, regardless, whatever you do, you would have to do it, because if you want to do it business-wise, you would have to do it through a company that you either own 100% or you could own with somebody else. But you still would have to make that investment to be able to get the impact that those great artists are getting.
Okay, so in the case of a 360 deal,
yes,
how does the artist benefit?
Okay, so it's simple. You get an advance. The advance is supposed to be recoupable.
What if there is no advance?
If there's no advance, wait.
In most cases, there are no advance.
It's not everybody that takes advance. It's not 360. I mean, obviously. Yes. But the advance is hedged against your earnings that's supposed to come in future. So if you don't get the advance, obviously you get the earnings, and you can negotiate to say that because of the whole lack of advance and everything, you probably want to own your masters. what is the masters in this case? The master recording. The master recording, how did we get to about those times? Those times when they used to cut vinyl, they used to cut CDs and cassettes. You would have to reproduce. So you would have to have the master recording where it features everybody. This is a work.
Like a data.
Yeah. Then now you have to reproduce it on a cassette, reproduce it. Now, the people that make the investment in the work that brought about the master recording owns the commercial or the economic rights to the master recording. So you as an artist, you get your rights. There are various different rights in a particular song. But if you've been given an advance, you would have to recoup that advance from the economic whatever activity of the master recording. Then now your royalty will kick in. So whatever percentage will determine. But Andy, isn't it curious that mostly adults who have access to lawyers and everything think at a certain point in time that we need the deal badly, that they get their lawyers and everybody to sign for it. They take the advance, the record label put in all the necessary machinery behind them, give them that mileage and value, and then when they've unlocked the value, right, they begin to discount it and think that they have to go on their own. Okay, that's fine. Even if you have to go on your own, to be able to maintain what the machinery of the music company has been able to do for you, you would have to make an investment regardless. You are fine. It's not every artist that has that entrepreneurial capacity. Even us that are doing entrepreneurship, it gets to a particular point where you look for invention. Look, I've done a number of, as an entrepreneur, I have a number of businesses in the space. One of my businesses, when I realized that, Charlie, on my own, I can't carry it alone, I sought investment from another person. And then now, when we expand. That's it. It becomes a bigger, valuable company. Facebook is not owned by Mark Zuckerberg alone. He's the largest individual shareholder. But there are a lot of other institutional shareholders and investment or venture capital companies that have invested in it to make it the Facebook that it is. So it's the investment. Are you saying you don't need the investment? The investment can come from you. I see that maybe she was speaking for herself. Maybe she doesn't need any investment to be able to create her music and push her music out. I see somebody saying that she's doing well internationally. What is the doing well internationally? You know? And this is the thing that today it's measurable. What do you mean by she's doing well international? Is the streams showing it? Is the performance whatever showing it? Is other things show it? Don't say it. And those times you can say, oh, somebody's doing well internationally.
We can check.
And you can check, and then you should some few press placements here and there is what you use. Or she plays on maybe one festival here or there is what you use to say the person is doing well internationally.
Just orchestrated that.
Today, Andy, live, your activity across the world impacts the streams that you the revenues that you make mostly. So if you have the record label system, all of you were concerned, how was Burna Boy able to crack it? There was a label system behind it who were able to now be able to pay for all the things on the line. So you want a Jimmy Fallon premiere, you want a David Letterman, whatever. You want to make an appearance here. You want on the Ellen DeGeneres show. You want the PR placement in the newspapers and the blogs and the tabloids and everything that will give you whatever. You want to be placed on the bigger stage or the main stage of Coachella and all of those things just to instigate the wave. All of it, because obviously you know that if you play the Coachella and you do well, when you come, the music could have been activated there. But it takes the machinery of the music companies, the established music companies, to be able to do so. So, of course, success means different things to many people. But if you really want to be that great, it's two things. Either you make the investment on your own, which is still the investment, because you would have to make the investment through a vehicle. For instance, Sarkodie today is making an investment.
Doing the investment, individual investment, better still signed on a label.
Yes, but if Sarkodie is all the investment Sarkodie as an artist is making in himself today, where does it make it through? Success Music.
Yes.
It's a vehicle. So it gets to a particular time where Success Music may have developed a value. Sarkodie can decide that on my own alone, I can carry Success Music and take it into the future. Sarkodie can decide that, okay, Success Music has this catalog, has ABCD. Now, on my own, I cannot carry. So I need other investors. And there's a plan. Maybe on my own or in future, we're looking to go into ABCD. That is how a lot of talent map out the future. Because understandably, as a talent, you cannot be on top forever. Because I've always made the point that the active users of music are always between a certain ages. At every generation, those ages, So if the active users of music today is, say, 13 to 24, there's a core 13 to 24 people here today. tomorrow this 13 to 24 will grow out. There will be new that will come, and they will develop and come with their own stars and everything, and you may not be able to keep up. So the future will be, how do I make investment into that particular vehicle or company that I've started today, even if the whole focus is for them to manage my catalog or my masters for the future, and how I'll make money from it, or blow it out, become a proper entertainment company and begin to go into different things. Like Nas has done it, Jay-Z is doing it, everybody's doing it, because they're looking into the future and seeing that they may not be able to act it. But the investment, all of us agree here that we need the investment. The investment can come in the companies, even if it comes from your own or your husband or anything. It has to be structured within a certain organization. What do you call that? So you do need it. You do need the machinery, and we do need to discourage this kind of conversation. Sometimes discourages everybody. There's a lot of young artists who have not developed the talent that need the record label system to be able to unlock the value in them. Unlocking the value here means that, Charlie, and tomorrow this artist he was not worth anything today, for instance, right? The label system comes in, place low values on them. Tomorrow they discount all of that and then begin to think of today. But going forward, tell you, ask all the Andy, all the boys that are actually even doing it on themselves, all the people that are actually doing it on their own, they'll tell you how difficult it is, because just sometimes a certain assets, you keep on hearing the word plugs. Sometimes you don't necessarily have your own plugs. Plugs, the record labels, they harness it. They harness a lot of plugs. So you can have an A and R that has been in the system for a long time, and certain things is just a phone call away. How was I able to, launch Boom Play here and make it easier and get the whole understand? Because by being in the industry for a long time and having access, certain things was just a phone call away. Some of my deals and things that I made it in the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m. when I was sitting in the studio with the artist. So it's easy to get the things around, because it's years of experience and years of connect and contact to be able to do that. All these things.
It's been a very interesting discussion.
No, we need to continue. Andy, this must be. Can I quickly?
Again, Kwesi, okay.
On a part of what Mark said, Andy, you said you were going to give me a chance to clear that.
Andy, for all the persons that follow me on my Instagram page, on the Questioners Official on Instagram, we will need to discuss this matter live this afternoon, because you see, this type of discussions.
I thought you said we have to continue on radio.
We'll continue, but you see, these are some of the discussions that allow some of these young artists
to be insulting managers and productions and all that.
Spitting nonsense in the face of big people who put money into them.
Asking what you did for them.
They will come and sit down here and tell you it is my craft, it is my craft. If it is your craft, why didn't you sell your father's cocoa house? Cocoa farm and then use it?
So if you don't have
all right, so please, DJ Black.
How many investors do we have?
DJ Black,
just give me 1 hour.
Before we go,
DJ Black,
how many investors do we have?
DJ Black didn't give us 1 hour. He said he was giving us 18
look at the amount of investors we have.
I think Mark was speaking the same language.
We are joking.
No, all of them. See, what Mark said,
I wrote this serious.
very good.
The only difference was there.
I beg. So thank you.
That's
please, let's end it all. Gerard Israel has sent quite a lengthier submission. Now listen to what Gerard Israel said. He says, Andy Dusty, did you use that language?
Where?
We didn't hear it.
Gerard Israel says, now he says, Andy Dusty, if we don't become more serious, responsible gatekeepers, talents are going to change the narrative in the arts world. Every talent needs a record label. Even if you are from a rich family. Oh, please. It's true. He says every talent needs a record label. Even if you are from a rich family, you still need the services of these labels who have the plugs to hijack the system for you. Major record labels offer deals to the world's most successful music artists. These record labels, such as Sony and Universal Music Group, own distribution networks that put the music of the artists they sign to exclusive contracts in the hands of the millions of consumers, sometimes in a matter of days or even hours. Yes, the internet has freed artists from dependence on record labels, and many artists market and distribute their music independently through social media and streaming platforms at a much lower cost. But trust me, that is not enough. The internet doesn't have the plugs, it just gives exposure.
And just quickly to that, sometimes some of these talents, because they don't talk about, you don't hear. Lately, there's something that has come up that is called artist or label services, which was mentioning it. So the bigger record labels are there. You decide to own your masters, you can be an artist. Then you go to them to pay them to provide a semblance of what the record label would have done for you. So either you pay them or you structure a deal to say that when I make my earnings, you take
you
away
take your
A, B, C, D
cut.
from it. So these level services is still there and still very relevant. The other thing is that whereas previously the record label or the music company would have paid for that, today you are having to pay for it or hedge it against your earnings.
All right, so we are done. Thank you all very much for listening. Special thanks to Troy Steele, Vodafone, Franco Trading, Betway, Dash, and to you most especially. DJ Black is ready with
This is Hitz.